Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Alex, and if you're new, well, we're all new here, so welcome. Welcome back to those who watched my last video. Thank you for coming back again to see what else I got for you. So today, I'm going to be doing another fan casting. I know that I did one last time, and the first few videos on this channel will probably be fan castings and trailer reactions. Just as I figure out this whole thing. Like I said, I'm new, so learn with me, watch me grow. I appreciate the love. So today, what we're going to be fan casting is another live action Disney movie. Last time I did Treasure Planet, you can check out that video. There will be a link in the description below. So of course check it out and let me know what you think about those choices and give me your choices of who you think could do a good live action Treasure Planet movie as the characters. So today, according to my title, we will be doing Atlantis: The Lost Empire. Now, the thing about Atlantis is I think it is a great movie. It definitely, like Treasure Planet, does not get nearly enough love. I do think that people probably have come to appreciate it more as they've gotten older, especially those of us who were kids when it came out. I remember the trailer for that movie. I remember the part where at the end where Kita goes into the crystal and then her eyes pop open. Milo touched it's crazy. That movie is really good. And all the characters are interesting. And of course, Michael J. Fox is the voice of the main character, and I love him. And of course, Cree Summer is Kita, and she's iconic in voice acting. So that movie, I think it would lend itself really well to live action. I think that it's kind of right there. There's not a ton that Disney would have to do in terms of technology to make that movie come to life, because I mean all the characters are human characters. There isn't much magic going on in that movie, not until really towards the end where they would have to kind of throw in a lot of CGI, and then of course the technology that we learn along the way in the movie. But otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. I think it would do really well, and I understand that they want to do all their popular stuff because obviously they made money in the past, but I'm not against it, but I think it's kind of a mistake to not do ones that didn't do well. And they didn't do well because I don't think that Disney at the time did a good job marketing them. Like My Shoe with Treasure Planet, that took 10 years to make because they didn't believe in the movie. I do think that though it was another one of those movies they kind of swept underneath the rug because it wasn't part of their main formula. I guess it was just different. I mean, for one thing, Milo is 32 in this movie, whereas all their other main characters are generally young adults, 20s maybe, and teenagers. Milo's 32. That is very, very different from the Disney's normal protagonist age. So I don't know if that's part of the problem or not, but I think it would be a really good live action movie. Or if anything, this actually would be a good series for them to do on Disney Plus. Oh my god. Disney Plus. Okay, Disney, listen. If you do not do a live action movie for Atlantis or even Treasure Planet, these would be such a good option for a TV show. Some things don't always work as movies, so maybe these would be really good as TV shows. I think Atlantis, y'all, oh my god, y'all. Atlantis would be so good as a TV show. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I get too excited. I can't. Okay. We're gonna get right into this fan casting because that's what you're here for. So I have my notes over here about who I casted. So we're gonna get into it. So first there's a fly in here. I thought I got it out. It must have slipped underneath the door. Okay, so we have Milo Thatch. Michael J. Fox, of course, plays him. And he's 32. I thought he was in his 20s. But Milo is 32, and he is mild-mannered, he's smart, he's friendly, he's kind, he's a very socially awkward. He's very, very smart. I think I said that already. He's also a very determined person. Y'all, this fly is I'm about to fight this thing. Okay, he's a very determined person. He's a linguist, he's a cartographer, and that's the biggest thing. I don't want to spoil much if you haven't ever seen this movie. but he's likable. Like, you like Milo. You root for him. He's earnest. I mean, he goes to this kingdom to actually learn. Like, he's not there to steal anything from them. He's not there to colonize them. He's going there because he wants to go on this exploration because he truly believes that it exists. He wants to learn. That's the biggest thing. If you go to discover another people's culture, you go to learn. You don't go there to fix them, to change them, or to colonize them. So there's that. You root for him. I mean, he's naive, but you root for him and you like him. He's a great character. He's very likable. So I have seen a lot of fan casting for this movie in the past. There was one that particularly went around for a long time where Andrew Garfield was cast as Milo Thatch. And honestly, I think that's a good choice. I don't think he's a bad choice, but I think because he's casted all the time in fan cast, and I think he's also a little too old now. I mean, I don't believe that he's like super old. Like, let me see how old Andrew Garfield is. Just to, because I hate to be like, oh, they look old, but he's like 37, because like I like Andrew Garfield a lot. I really do. Okay, so he's 37. I was like right on the money. So he's 37, but I think that we could get somebody else who's, again, a lesser known or an unknown actor. I think a lesser known would be good. I think somebody we've seen before should be played for Milo, but someone who may not be like a big name like Andrew Garfield. So, I've also seen Tom Holland more recently. I've seen him and Zendaya like cast together as Milo and Kita, and I love them. They have great chemistry. I love them both. They're great actors, but I don't want them as this in this movie. I think that that's okay. So no Andrew Garfield, no Tom Holland, no Zendaya. If that ever happens, I'm not against it, but I personally think that we could have somebody else. So for Milo, my top choice is actually Cole Sprouse. If you do not know Cole Sprouse, he was first known from The Suite Life of Zack and Cody on the Disney Channel. He was Cody. And of course, he's a twin brother, Dylan. And Dylan would be fine too. I mean, obviously they're twins. But I think Cole would be a better choice for Milo. He's also most recently on Riverdale as Jughead Jones. And look at me having an eye problem again. This time my diffuser is off. I think it's just my eyelash. This is going to be a running joke every time I do a video. I'm going to have something wrong with mine. But he right now, I believe he's like 27, 28. And I think if they do the movie or the series like in the next couple years, he'll be about the same age as Milo. And they do the TV series on Disney Plus, it'd be fine. But he actually did a cosplay for Halloween of Milo some years ago. And I remember when I saw that picture, I was like, wow, this is actually really good. Like, he it really did it for me. I was like, this is a good choice. And I think that he'd play it well. I mean, yeah, if you watch Riverdale, him as Jughead. Jughead is a very broody character. But Cole himself is actually really kind of funny and he's really smart and he's really sassy. I really enjoy watching him in interviews and stuff. I think that he'd be really good as Milo. And I think he could play that kind of dorkier character well because he played it as Cody on Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. So I think it'd be kind of going right back to his roots. Milo is what Cody probably would have grown up to. So Cole Sprouse is my top choice for Milo Thatch. My honorable mention, I only have one, and I actually really like this choice too. And if they don't choose Cole Sprouse, I'm actually really for this option. And that is Grant Gustin, who is most known right now as Barry Allen, aka The Flash on CW's The Flash. He also, in ways, reminds me of Milo Thatch, particularly Barry in season 1. I think Grant Gustin would do really good. Like, he kind of has that whole dorky thing going on too. He's also pretty likable. Like, the thing about Barry is they kind of give him really stupid dialogue and they kind of have him repeat the same things over and over again on the show. I mean, CWs can be repetitive. It's fine. I thoroughly enjoy it still though. But I think he'd be really good at that. I mean, he's likable, he's charming, he has chemistry with everybody he's on the screen with. So I think he'd be a good choice for Milo. So what do you think? Cole Sprouse or Grant Gustin? As for Princess Kirakakash, aka Kita, she is strong, she's intelligent as well, she's caring, energetic, She's brave, resourceful, and she's vigilant. She's proud, and look at her appearance. She is beautiful. She reminds me of Storm, and I feel like they probably was inspired by Storm when they created her character, because she has the brown skin, the white hair, and the blue eyes, and that's what the tribe of women that Storm comes from. Maybe they're long lost sisters, or maybe she's from their tribe. I'm just kidding, but I think they might have been inspired by Storm when drawing her. But Kita's very strong. Like, she is the princess of her kingdom, and she will fight you for her people, as she does in the movie. But she's also willing to teach them. Like, when her and Milo go off to learn some more, she's very giving of showing him, and I like the friendship that they build in the movie. And this is one of the few movies where there's clearly going to be a romance there, but it's not the main focus of the movie. It's more of Kita and Milo's friendship that kind of grows into a romance, but the friendship is the biggest thing. And I think that my big choice for Kita would be really good with Cole Sprouse, and she'd be really good with Grant Gustin too. And that is actually Keke Palmer. And it took me a long time to think of somebody for Kita, because my initial first choice for her was actually Gugu Mbatha-Raw. And I love her, and I want her to be in so many more things where she's like the main character. And I think she's so beautiful and such a good actress. And you will see her again also in another fan casting that I'll do in the future. But she was my first initial choice. I saw Zoe Saldana previously with the fan casting with Andrew Garfield's Milo, and I think that's fine, but she's already, Gamora and, whatever. Keke Palmer, I think, would be a really good choice. I haven't seen her really in anything recently. She was in Hustlers, and I thought she was good in that, but I think with her beautiful brown skin, her beautiful smile, she comes off very strong, and I feel like that her and Cole Sprouse would have really good chemistry on set, in the movie. And I also think that she would take really well to the look of Kita, like with the white hair and the blue contacts. I think she'd do really good with that. I think that she would be great with Cole Sprouse. I had a couple of honorable mentions for her. So, of course, Gugu Mbatha-Raw I thought would be great. Zoe Kravitz, actually, somebody I thought about too, and I think she'd be really good as well. Chloe Bailey also was mentioned by my friend Karina, and you probably hear her name a couple times too, because she helps a lot with FanCast. And I like it. I've never seen her act, but aesthetically, like making her locks white, amazing. And then Letitia Wright, who is Shuri in Black Panther. I know I say no to Zoe Saldana because she's a Gamora, but Letitia Wright is still kind of new, and I think that'd be interesting too. She's young. So, we're now going into our supporting cast, like our secondary cast. And so the next character is Commander Rouke. And he's very interesting because he is a commander, and he, has his team of people, and he clearly trusts them, but he's the main antagonist in the movie, but he's not like your typical villain. Like, he doesn't, that there's something nefarious on with his plans, but he doesn't kind of like make it like obvious from the beginning. He kind of reminds me of Clayton from Tarzan in ways, but I think a little bit more nuanced, because he goes with the intention of like learning from them. And I mean, obviously he has his plans to, steal their stuff. I mean, just, legit. But I feel like that is handled a little differently. So he doesn't like quite start out as a villain, but when he starts to get greedy when he sees it. Okay, this place is real. They must have a treasure here because this is a secret people. They have to have stuff here, and so he kind of like takes this 180 turn. I'm sure it's always been there. I mean, it's always been the goal, but I think it's definitely a lot more of a, I'm not a villain from the start. Like, you may not trust him from the start, but he's not I don't believe that he's like a villain straight from the start. I haven't seen the movie in a long time, so when I do my marathon and I watch it, I could feel differently, but that's just kind of how I saw him. But you're also not meant to really like him either. Like, you don't really trust that Fly is in here. But, you don't really trust him, but, So, I saw an obvious choice for him, which would be Stephen Lang. And, yes, obvious choice. He played this part literally in Avatar, so we don't really need him to play it. I actually think that Woody Harrelson will be a really good choice for this, because Woody Harrelson is charming and he's really likable. Like, you generally like him and stuff that he plays. And I think because of that, you won't really know what Rourke is going to do because of the fact that Woody Harrelson is charming. But I also think that he can be very scary. I have not seen the third Planet of the Apes movies. What is it? War of the Planet of the Apes. And which is, I think, he's in as the antagonist. I haven't seen it yet. I know, don't crucify me. But I think that he'd be really good. He can play a villain, and I think he'd have fun with it too. So, Woody Harrelson. So, my honorable mentions, of course, Stephen Lang, and then Viggo Mortensen, I think, also would be a really good choice for this character too. Like, him and Woody Harrelson, yes, I think would be really good. So, on to his right-hand man or woman, his second-in-command, Lieutenant Helga Katrina Sinclair. She is tough, she's short-tempered, she is bold, she's determined, she's aggressive, she's sassy, she's passionate. Yes, girl. I believe she's also supposed to be German in the movie, and she's very active, like, whereas Commander Rourke may be kind of like in the background, I'm the commander. She's like, okay, y'all, let's get this going. She's like his voice box in ways, and he relies on her. They have a good relationship, and I think that, obviously the choice for her and then the choice for Rourke need to, work really well together, have good chemistry and things like that. So I've seen Angelina Jolie a lot for this role. I've seen Charlize Theron a lot for this role, and they both would be really good choices. But again, I try to think outside the box, and I actually have two choices for this character. I think Diane Kruger would be really good because I have not seen every movie she's been in, but I think I've never seen her quite play like a villain type of role, and I think she'd be really good. She kind of has like this soft look to her, so you kind of wouldn't believe that she could probably kick your ass, but she can. And I think that'd be really kind of really good. And I think she would be really good with Woody Harrelson and Viggo Mortensen, whichever it is. And my other choice is actually Alice Eve. And I have like a spark of like brilliance when I thought of her because I also like her. She also kind of has this unassuming, feel to her. But at the same time, there are certain faces that she makes that kind of come off a little intimidating. So I think that she'd be really good too. So yes, Alice Eve. For my honorable mentions, I have Charlize Theron because she's an obvious choice. I would choose her over Angelina Jolie for this part. So now I'm really into the supporting characters, like really. And we have like the ragtag group of people that Milo ends up going on this expedition with. And so first we have Vinnie Santorini. Vinnie, I don't know if he's Italian. I don't think they ever say he's Italian, but I kind of feel like he's Italian in the movie. I don't know. So, I could find an Italian actor because the thing is, he has this really interesting voice, like, in the movie. So I kind of was trying to find somebody who could kind of maintain that kind of weird cadence that he has. But he is the demolitionist of the group. He's funny. Everything he says is pretty funny. And he literally has some of the best dialogue in the movie. So he ran a flower shop prior to this expedition, and then there was an explosion. He survived, and so he really liked the boom, so he became a demolition expert. And he's likable. He's very deadpan, but he's so likable. Great one-liners. Again, an obvious choice for this I've seen is Sacha Baron Cohen, and sure, but I actually like my choice of Bobby Cannavale. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. Bobby Cannavale, I think, would be really good for this role. He kind of also has this like charming but swarmy feel to him, and I think that he would do a really good job as Vinnie, and I think that he would be able to deliver some of those like lines really well as kind of being like, oh, he's so cute, because some of the stuff he says is like, what? But I think he would find a good balance there, just as long as he doesn't phone it in. I want him to have fun, but don't be like too hammy, because then it could go like really bad. So yeah, Bobby Cannavale. My honorable mentions, of course, Sacha Baron Cohen, and then Justin Baldoni. I actually haven't seen him in anything. I think he's in Jane the Virgin, but I was like looking at pictures just like of actors, and he came up and I said, you know what? Let me watch a clip from Jane the Virgin. So I watched the clip and I said, that'd be interesting. I'm gonna pick him. So I picked him just because. Moving on to Dr. Joshua Strongbear Sweet. In the movie, he's played by Phil Morris. I always want to get him confused with Phil Morris. I had to make sure. And Dr. Sweet, he is African American and a Native American descent. So, of course, if we can find that, if we somebody who is that'd be awesome. But he is a medical officer, and he is the first one to really take to Milo and kind of like, become his friend. Everybody else kind of takes a little bit more to warm up to him, but Dr. Sweet kind of goes in there like quickly. He's a big guy. He becomes like a mentor. He's very kind, and he does warn Milo about everybody's kind of like quirks, so they're all kind of like weird in their own way. And I feel like he's like really the heart of the team, and I think that's a testament to like who needs to play him. And he is on the side of like, of getting the crystal, but he's on the side of the ultimate goal that they had, even if they, if they found Atlantis and if it was real. But he was not for people getting hurt. I think he considers himself a pacifist. So when people start getting hurt, he's like, hold up, this is not what I signed up for, and he kind of like switches like alliances. So I was trying to find somebody who I thought would be really good at that, kind of being like this big guy who's like intimidating, but then you meet him, he's like really likable, he's really funny, he's fast talking, and who will like kind of like take Cole Sprouse as Milo in. And I thought of nobody other than Isaiah Mustafa. He came to mind as soon as I looked up a picture of him, and I was like, bruh, Isaiah Mustafa. That guy is so likable. Like when I was watching Shadowhunters and he was Luke, I really like him. Like I really like Isaiah Mustafa. He's a very likable guy. He's charming, and I feel like he's funny, and I think that he would be really good as the heart of this team. And I think that he would have really good chemistry with both Grant Gustin and with Cole Sprouse. So it could go either way, and I think he'd be great. Honorable mentions for him is Terry Crews. I don't know about him now, considering the fact of the stuff he's been saying, but I like Terry Crews, but. And then the other option is Henry Simmons, who physically is probably closer to Sweet than Isaiah Mustafa. But Isaiah Mustafa. Next we have Audrey Rocio Ramirez. She's 18. She's Puerto Rican, and she's a mechanic. She's very feisty, and she is the one who keeps everything going. The mechanic. She knows what she's doing. At first, she's really kind of like brash, and she's like known for her for flinching. She's about to hit you and you flinch, and she hits you anyway. And she does that a lot to Milo. And she also doesn't like the fact that he kind of like fixes stuff, because he's also kind of a mechanic. But that's like her trade. And I remember there's a part in the movie where she says, her dad wanted boys, but he got 3 girls, and all of the girls kind of do like what is considered boy things. She's a mechanic. I think a sister is a boxer, and I can't remember the other one. Or maybe it's just 2 girls. I don't know. But yes, so she kind of defies that gender norm thing. I think this is really cool. And she is also very likable. It takes her a minute a couple times, but she gets there. I like her. So I actually could not think of anybody for this part, except for Sierra Ramirez. I thought physically she would be a really good choice. I was looking at Puerto Rican actresses. I couldn't really find anybody that really spoke to me or anybody that I've seen before. So, of course, it could be another unknown or Sierra Ramirez. I don't think she's not Puerto Rican, but I think she looks a lot like Audrey. Like, in the animated version, I think she kind of looks like her. So, we have some other smaller characters in Atlantis. They don't have as much screen time as, like, Vinnie, Sweet, or Audrey. So, I still want to include them because they are part of the team. We have Wilhelmina Bertha Packard. She's an older woman. She's sarcastic. She chain smokes, and she's that radio operator. She does her own thing. You could tell her, like, hey, Wilhelmina, call this down to the boiler room. And she'd be like, hold on. And she'd be, doing her thing. And I actually thought of no other choice but Helen Mirren. I think that she'd be great. After watching her be Shaw's mother in the Fast and Furious movies, I'm like, bruh, she'd be so good as Wilhelmina. She's not British, but Helen Mirren can do anything. So Wilhelmina can be British. Perfectly fine. Not even a problem. So Helen Mirren for Wilhelmina. For Gaëtan Molière, he is the French geologist, and he's basically like a little mole man. Like, he will dig into dirt. He is very flirty, but kind of like in a lewd kind of way. He's like a Pepe Le Pew. But maybe not as like charming, because I like Pepe Le Pew. I don't really, Mo's like kind of whatever to me. He's also like my least favorite of the group, but you know, he's that. And he's kind of funny, but he's a little weird. So he needs to be somebody who can kind of manage all of that. And I actually really couldn't think of anybody, but then Mark Hamill came to mind. I was like, you know what? Mark Hamill. That would be really interesting. I have seen him play, like, I mean, obviously he's, you know, obviously well known for Luke Skywalker, but also as the Joker in the animated Batman series. He also played a villain in the CW Arrowverse. He plays the trickster, I believe. He's really good at kind of being kind of crazy. Like, he's really good at it. So I think he'd be kind of perfect. So unless they find a little French man, I say Mark Hamill. Why not, right? No honorable mentions for really any of these, because they're so minor that if the person who kind of like plays them the way they are in the movie, but they mix them their own, I think that kind of is what really matters. So then we have Preston B. Whitmore, and we only really see him at the beginning and then at the end. He is the eccentric millionaire who funds the expedition. He kind of takes a liking to Milo, and I think he also knows his grandfather. And he funds the trip, and I think he also is the one who finds the crew. And so we don't really know much about him. We know he's really into yoga, and we know that he pretty much is a mysterious person. So I think that I had a couple of choices for this role. I don't have a top choice, but I have a couple of people I think would do really good. I have Kelsey Grammer, Jeff Goldblum, Donald Sutherland, Dick Van Dyke, Ben Kingsley, and then Patrick Stewart. I'm actually looking at this list again. I'm actually leaning a little bit more towards Donald Sutherland and Kelsey Grammer, but they're all my choices for that particular role. I don't know if any of these men can do yoga, especially not in the way that Whitmore does it, but I think they would all kind of do well of kind of keeping that kind of eccentric but also mysterious vibe that he has in the movie. I think it'd be interesting. And then the last two characters we have Jebediah Cookie Farnsworth. Now, he's really, really minor, but he's likable, he's memorable, he's real country, he's a chef, and he's like real like Western style country, like y'all, it's crazy. And he's quick talking, he's funny, and I thought of nobody but William H. Macy. Like, he literally kind of reminds me of him when I was looking at pictures. I was like, bro, William H. Macy. And I think he'd be great. Like, watching some of the clips of him, or watching some episodes of him in Shameless, I think that really kind of sold it for me. So he'd be great. And then lastly, we have King. This is bad, y'all. Kita's dad, the king of Atlantis. And he's blind, and he is very regal, and he makes a lot of bad choices in the movie. But he also is very like protective, and I think his choices is kind of what is the downfall of Atlantis in some ways. It's kind of like he does it to protect his daughter and his people, but that may not have been the best thing to do. You can't always want to, you have to realize that if you make a choice to protect people, that you have to be prepared for whatever consequences come from that, and you have to own up to them too. And it could take a minute for that to happen, but just be aware that it will happen, especially if people call you out on it. So I think that's something he had to learn. A very small arc, but a very small part, but he had to learn it. So my top actor actually is really Sidney Poitier, but I don't really know if he's like really doing any acting. I mean, he is pretty old, but I do think that I don't mean in a disrespectful way. I think he's a fantastic actor. But if he doesn't do this anymore, then my other choices were Morgan Freeman and Giancarlo Esposito, who I also really like. I think he'd be really good. And then Mahershala Ali, I thought was a really good choice. He would be a little bit of a younger dad compared to the other guys who are older. But I think he'd be really good at that too, because he has a presence as well. But Sidney Poitier, I think, is like the top of my options for the king. So this one actually took me a while when I first did the choices, because I was really trying to think of like, okay, these people are so different in all different kinds of ways. How would they work together as a team? How would they, portray their personalities and stand out and not be like, oh, that's the same character, just, cloned 3 times. Because they're also different in the movie. And I was trying to find people who looked different anyway, but also who had different kind of styles of how they acted and portrayed characters. And I think the people that I chose, especially all the people who I actually had like my main choice, I think would be good choices. Cole Sprouse, Keke Palmer, Woody Harrelson, Diane Kruger and Alice Eve, Isaiah Mustafa, Bobby Cannavale, Sierra Ramirez, and then all, you know, the other characters. I think these are really good, a good, different group of people, and I think they would really handle the movie really well. I'm so stuck on this idea of a TV show now. I think it'd be great as a movie, but if they could really do this as a TV show, like maybe a 7 episode miniseries or something like that. I don't think it has to be even like super long. It'd just be 7 episodes. I think that'd be really cool. So yeah, hey Disney. Hey Disney. Give me a call. I will help you. I will help you cast and even adapt. Like I actually have some good ideas on that kind of stuff. But so yeah, this is my fan casting for Atlantis: The Lost Empire. I think the tone of the movie should also be the same. It's a comedy, but it's an adventure. Like it should be an adventure comedy. You know, don't lean too heavy in a comedy. Don't lean too heavy in an adventure. Have a good balance as the animated movie does. And then of course you could add a couple more things because it is a live action movie or a TV show. You can add a couple more character moments in there for all the other characters just so we can kind of like them a lot more or understand them. I mean, if you're a villain, but everybody's on this kick right now of like understanding the villains or understanding where they're coming from, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But if you do it well. And I think that this movie is a good option. So let's get to it. Why not? There's literally no reason. So thanks for watching this video, guys. Tell me your options of your fan cast for Atlantis. I mean, would you like to see it as a movie? Or would you like to see it as a TV series, like a mini series? Which one would you prefer? And then if that's the case, who would your cast be? And then let me know if you would watch it. You know, like, why not? So let me know in the comments below, and keep checking out this channel for more videos. I have another fan cast coming at you, and then after that, hopefully we'll have some trailer reactions, and hopefully after that, we'll really get into these movie commentaries. I'm still learning, like I said, so it's all really new to me, but I'm excited to keep it going. So, of course, like, comment, subscribe, share if you want, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.